Hi, I'm Mike McCormick, live from GBTA Studios here in Toronto, and I'm here with Steve Ross, Managing Director of Midwest and Canada Sales of United Airlines, longtime industry colleague and friend. Steve, good to have you here in the studio.
Great to be with you, Mike, thanks.
So you cover a lot of turf, Canada, and like I said, a good portion of the middle of the United States. You see a lot in terms of what, talk to a lot of customers, probably a lot of different customer segments. What are you seeing out there? What are the trends are you seeing with buyers? And when you're negotiating and talking with them, what are they looking for?
It's a great question, Mike. We've actually seen a couple of recent developments in terms of trends that customers are asking us about, especially our corporate customers when it comes to their RFPs and renewal cycles. And I'd like to focus on two of those emerging trends that we're seeing today. The first is a focus on sustainability.
Right.
The second is something that I'm going to call digital optimization. With regards to sustainability, we've seen through years customers have had sustainability clauses, whether it's in their mission statement or some of the key metrics that they look at. When it really comes to putting their money where their mouth is, most corporate buyers are not necessarily buying with regards to sustainability. We're starting to see that trend change a little bit.
Okay.
And what do I mean by that? Companies are now starting to look for suppliers that have a focus on having not only a focus on sustainability, but really have viable programs that focus on sustainability to keep costs low going forward in the future, as well as partnering with them to develop carbon offset programs, because sustainability is becoming, that's a way to address it through their travel program.
Right.
So at United, this is music to our ears in the sense that we've been long a leader in the area of sustainability. We've had an intense focus on it for the last several years. And I'll put it in perspective. In 2018, United spent $9.25 billion, that's US billion dollars, on fuel. And if you break it down and you look at it on an hourly basis, it's over $1 million an hour on a fuel bill. So you think filling up your car is expensive, try filling up a fleet of aircraft at $1 million. So it's important for customers that we have a focus on watching our fuel bill, keeping our costs down, because the more we can keep our costs down, the better we can pass those cost savings on to our corporate and leisure buyers. And we're doing that really through a 4-point sustainability program that we have, and first of which is focusing on fuel efficiency and gas house emissions, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Second is finding alternate sources of sustainable fuels. We also have a very intense focus on weight management, as well as recycling on board our aircraft. And the last is partnering with our stakeholders and our customers and engaging them really in this whole process. Well, how are we doing that? We're doing that through things like running a very efficient airline these days. By not wasting fuel on the ground or in the air, we keep our fuel bill down. We've also invested in a producer of biofuels on the West Coast, where we're taking recycled oils and turning it into jet fuel. So every flight out of Los Angeles these days flies with a mix of biofuel and regular jet kerosene fuel, and we're constantly focusing on recycling as well. We've also developed carbon offset programs, which are of interest to our customer these days. They're starting to build into our corporate programs, whether it's part of the contract or separate from the contract. It allows them to address their carbon footprint. We can actually measure it all the way down to the individual traveler's level, as well as aggregate it for the corporation and then design a program that allows them to offset their carbon by doing things like planting trees in Brazil, et cetera. So again, intense, we're seeing that now start to become live and in the RFPs.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think, it seemed like there was a lot of awareness and work on that, or like years ago, when economic times are really bad, the focus shifts away. And now that we're in a stable economy, to hear like that it's integrated that much into corporate programs is really interesting, that it's really taking hold. I mean, I think like it's kind of combining, it sounds like, a lot of the capabilities that and work that's just been being done every day, every month, and for years now, is really kind of coming to fruition. But it's interesting that companies are that interested in partnering at that level too.
And we've really seen a change in that, and you're exactly right. That wasn't vogue when people were watching their bottom lines. The fact that the economy is good, and as the millennials are coming into the workplace, sustainability has become something that they want and expect out of the corporation to address.
Right.
The other thing that we're seeing in RFPs, in the discussions we're having in RFPs, besides addressing things like the normal discounts, amenities, and things like that that are baked into contracts, we're now starting to have discussions with our corporate customers, in particular around what we call digital optimization. I think we've all come to realize you can have the greatest airline contract in the world, and if you don't have the online booking tool set correctly, the dials aren't set correctly, you either don't achieve the compliance that we expect, or on the corporation side, they're not necessarily always gaining the cost savings they contracted for as well. So what we're now doing these days is we're partnering with our corporate customers, our TMC partners as well, to really start and look and analyze the way the dials are set on the online booking tools to really maximize cost savings. And we're now even getting to the point in some cases to drive the cost savings that corporations are looking for. We're actually starting to bake those settings into the way we structure our contracts, and having it addressed from a contractual basis.
Be that prescriptive.
It isn't just it isn't just being a preferred carrier. It's really how do we get to those cost savings by setting the dials in this particular manner. So again, it's a trend that you're starting to see. It's something we're all learning in, but I think you're going to see that become more and more and more about a part of the way we go about doing business.
And specifically here in the Canada market, any trends you're seeing? What's the outlook here in Canada?
Well, the outlook for United is good in Canada. Number one, we're blessed. We work with a wonderful partner in Air Canada.
Right.
Between the two of us,
I think I've heard of them.
Yes, you have. Yes, probably seen some of their logos around the conference. They've been a wonderful partner, and between really the two of us, we serve North America better than any other airline combination. For United in particular, we're growing again in Canada. We've recently added nonstop daily service between Toronto and San Francisco. We fly twice a day, allows the Canadian market in the Toronto eastern part of Canada to be able to connect to our fabulous San Francisco hub, get you anywhere in Asia as well as the South Pacific, as well as up and down the West Coast. We've added, we're starting to add additional service into smaller markets. On the 6th of June of this year, we're going to start to add Halifax to Chicago service. We're also adding an upgauging service between Halifax and Newark. So for United, it's a good story, and again, together with our partner, we offer tremendous connections across the U.S. A lot of the growth that United is going through right now is really in the United States, whether it's to international markets or in particular right now we've concentrated on what we call our mid-continent hubs. Should be Chicago, Houston, and Denver. Why do I mention that? Why is that important for Canada and the Canadian marketplace? Because again, between Air Canada and ourselves being able to feed those markets, it allows the Canadian traveler, whether a business or leisure, to be able to essentially get anywhere they want to go in North America.
That's great. Well, again, interesting insights on the changing trends, both here and in Canada, and as it relates to North America. Again, Steve, thanks for stopping by the studio.
You're very welcome, Mike. Thank you.
And I'm Mike McCormick, live from GBTA Studios here in Toronto.